What's going on YouTube? So of course, compact crossovers are one of the most popular segments in the US, and the Nissan Rogue is one of the most popular offerings within that segment. In 2021, the Rogue was fully redesigned from the ground up. Last year, the engine was replaced to give it more power, and now for 2023, there are a couple more enhancements. So is this Rogue the compact SUV you should pick over CR-V and RAV4? Let's go ahead and find out. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start things off here with the exterior design. Now this is a pretty fresh model, so we're not going to see any substantial updates to the overall look up here in the front. And we will continue to find Nissan's signature V-Motion grille. All of the models are going to come with this chrome trim that surrounds the outside of the V shape, except for one new thing for 2023. That's the fact that Nissan is now offering the Rogue with a midnight edition. That's going to build on the SV trim level, and what that'll do is essentially black out a lot of the chrome elements you see all around the vehicle, including up here in the front, to give it a nice stealthy look. The only other adjustment between the trim levels is the fact that we have a silver finish down here on the lower fascia for the platinum trim level. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our headlights next. So we do have that split design on board. You're going to find full LEDs standard across every single trim level. This is the main headlight unit. The daytime running lights and the turn signal indicators are up here in this separated housing. And then for 2023, according to the build-in price, fog lights have actually been eliminated from all of the models. Previously, this was going to be available on the SL trim level and the platinum trim level. Now let's go ahead and talk about our wheel options. So you do have a standard 17-inch alloy wheel on the base model, moving up to 18-inch alloys on your middle trim levels, and then you have a 19-inch alloy here with the SL as well as the platinum trim level. As you can see, it does have a nice contrast finish, which I think looks really good with the Boulder Gray paint. So in case you guys are wondering what color this is, I know this is a very popular choice these days. It's called Boulder Gray. Now as we move up here to our mirrors, you do have an available two-tone finish if you choose the blacked out roof, which Mason will discuss in just a second. You do have heating if you choose the SV trim level or above, but all of the trim levels will come standard with blind spot monitoring.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and talk about the side of the Nissan Rogue. Now, of course, for 2023, you're not going to see any changes in terms of the overall length or anything, so you're looking at 183 inches, which is pretty class competitive for the segment. And as far as some of the design elements, I do want to mention some of those. Down here at the bottom, we do have some rugged matte plastic, as well as some silver trim going through that. That gives it a premium look. Your lower window surrounds are going to be blacked out. However, the upper part is going to be finished in a silver. And at the very upper part, you'll notice that we do have roof rails. That's going to be included on SL and platinum trim levels. And I do also want to point out that you can get two-tone roof options for this Rogue. There's going to be 5 different exterior colors, and those are available on SL and platinum trim levels. Although this particular tester just went for the solid color option. Now, moving around to the rear design of the Rogue, once again, no changes for 2023 in terms of the overall aesthetic, although I don't really think it needed to change because this is a very good-looking vehicle within the segment. Now, breaking down some of the design cues, we have a spoiler up top, we have a wiper integrated right there, we got the new Nissan logo, I think that was added last year, Rogue spout out across the back, and then checking out our taillights. The taillights are going to be partially LED, so you do have an LED brake light portion as well as an LED accenting all around it. That said, we do have an incandescent turn signal and reverse light. Dropping down to the lower area, you will notice that we have this whole area is going to be finished in either a rugged matte black or a body color finish. No exposed exhaust outlets on any Rogue model, and your tow rating is going to be 1,500 pounds. All right, guys, and let's go ahead and talk about the warranty and safety information. Of course, the safety information is going to be a very important part about a family vehicle like this, and Nissan knows that, so they're including a lot of safety systems as standard equipment. So what is going to be included as standard is going to be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, rear auto braking, as well as auto high beam headlamps. And if you opt for at least an SV trim level or higher, that will also throw in your adaptive cruise control system, lane keeping assist, as well as a highway driving assist function. Now, as far as your warranty information is concerned, you're going to have Nissan's signature warranty. It's going to be a 3-year, 36,000-mile basic warranty, 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain warranty. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up the Nissan Rogue on the outside. Now let's go ahead and check out the very functional and spacious cabin.
So walking up to the Rogue, you will find a smart entry system standard on the SV and up, as well as a remote start system. But you're probably noticing something new. That is a new key fob for this Rogue. Ask and you shall receive. We have finally got a new key fob design. I don't know if this will roll out to the entire Nissan lineup this year, but here on the Rogue, indeed, we do have a new fob, which feels nice and solid. Now to get inside the vehicle itself, there's not a sensor behind the handle, so you're just going to press the button to unlock the door. And there's a look inside of the cabin. We'll go ahead and climb inside and check out all the details. So let's start off by talking about our different interior, color, and material choices. So your S and your SV trim levels, those will come standard with cloth seating, and you do have optional leatherette on the SV. Once you get up to the SL trim level, which is what we have today, that's going to get you real leather seating. As you can see, nice looking seat. We do have color contrast stitching on board. It is nice and comfortable as well as the typical Nissan Zero Gravity seats are. And as far as your color options, you're going to have the choice between charcoal or light gray. Now, if you go all the way up to the Platinum, that's where you'll get the quilted semi-aniline leather interior. And when you choose that, you have black as well, but you have an exclusive tan color option. Now, turning over here to your seats, you do have an 8-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support, standard on all but the base model. And we'll go ahead and come up here to our door trim and look around at the general materials. We do have leather all through here with the stitching detail, leather through the middle, again with the stitching detail. It is going to be soft touch along the top as well. As we move to the upper dashboard, this is all going to be finished in a nice soft touch plastic. You'll notice that it is finished in a color contrast brown when you choose the black interior color option. Down in the middle, we do have more leatherette with stitching details running through there. We've got some piano black accents. And then even down here along our center console, we have more leatherette with the stitching details. Everything feels very solid, and overall, this is a really nice cabin for the class. Now to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the standard button. So talking about our gauges here, this is going to be the standard setup you'll find on the vast majority of the Rogues. That's going to be S through SL with the 7-inch multi-function display, and then you have your more traditional looking analog gauge cluster. As far as the Platinum though, that's the model that's going to come with the 12.3-inch full digital gauge cluster, which a lot of you guys, really value a lot. If you want one of those, then you will have to choose the Platinum trim level. Additionally, that Platinum trim level does offer an available head-up display. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we do have a nice flat bottom design standard on every single model. It is going to be nicely leather wrapped for the SL trim level and above. Manual adjusting on all of the models and heated on the SL trim level and above. By the way, I did fail to mention earlier, the driver window is one-touch auto up and down, and then you have 2-person memory seating on SL and Platinum trim levels. But let's go ahead and take a look at interior storage, because of course that's very important for a family vehicle. And I'm happy to report that Rogue is actually one of the best in the class. So starting out here with our center console, this does open with the butterfly lid. And looking inside there, it is decently sized. We do have a felt lining down there at the bottom as well. And let's get out our coupons. This stack is getting thicker and thicker by the day. Let's see how they fit. So this one's kind of a stiff coupon, makes it a little more challenging, but once we fold it up, it is going to fit just fine. And up in front of that, we've got our 2 cup holders. We have another rubber-lined storage area up here in the front. Wireless charging on the Platinum only. You do have a USB Type-C port. And then you also have this humongous center pass-through where you could store just about anything your heart desires. Now, of course, one of the reasons why you have that large pass-through is because Nissan goes with an electronic shifter. This is a very simple to use electronic shifter. I like the feel of it as well. Just pull back for drive. You can bump back again to activate a manual shift simulation mode. And you do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well. Press all the way forward to go into reverse. And when you do, you will be greeted with a traditional backup camera or Nissan's around view monitor system. This is going to be standard on the SL trim level and above. As you can see, you get both that overhead view, traditional view, and you can switch between a few other types of views as well. Then for park, just press the P right there on top of the shifter, and behind it you do have your electronic parking brake and brake hold function. Now back behind that, we do have our drive mode controller. And then going up the dashboard, we come to our climate controls next. So you've got actually 3 different versions of the climate control. Manual on just the base S, dual zone automatic starting at the SV trim level, and then you have 3-zone automatic if you choose the Platinum trim level, or since we have the SL with Premium package. As you can see, very simple operation, just twist the knob to adjust your temperature. This will be your buttons for your rear climate zone, which is exceedingly rare in this class of vehicle. Now off to the side, you do have your 3-stage heated seats. Those are going to be included as standard on SL trim level and above. Seat ventilation is not currently offered at this time. And now let's move on up here and take a sample of our audio system. So just like with the climate controls, you do have a series of systems, 4, then 6 speakers, and then fully loaded models get the 10-speaker Bose Premium sound system, or it is available on the SL with Premium package. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that Premium Bose system. Had to give it a second there to let the beat drop, but as you can probably hear, really nice sounding sound quality, fills up the cabin very well, and one of the better sound systems in this segment of vehicle. Alrighty, so now we're up here at our main display, and we'll go ahead and talk about that. So on the S through the SL, which would be the vast majority of the trim levels, you do have a standard 8-inch display. However, when you choose the Platinum trim level, or as you see today, the SL with Premium package, that will get you this 9-inch display. Of course, the overall appearance of that is not going to be radically different, but the main aspect that you would want to upgrade for is the fact that you have wireless Apple CarPlay when you choose this upgraded 9-inch display. The other reason you might want to choose the 9-inch display is because this is the model that comes with the built-in navigation system. But moving on from the infotainment system, we do have an auto-dimming mirror on the SL trim level and above. And the SL trim level and above also include this panoramic sunroof. I'll let that sunshade go all the way back so you can see just how large this is. Of course, the front panel does open up, and this is available as an option on the SV trim level as well.
Alright guys, so I'm sitting in the Rogue's rear seat, and one thing I want to point out before I start talking about my normal stuff is the door. As you can see, look how wide it opens. Every time we review a Nissan Rogue, I appreciate that it opens at almost 90 degrees. I'd say it's like 85-degree opening, which is certainly very useful for those of you who have child seats that you're going to be loading into the rear area of the Rogue. Now, come on back here and just join me in the rear area because this is a very nice place to spend time. Now, as far as these space figures are concerned, let's go ahead and talk about that first. We're looking at 38.5 inches of legroom, 39.2 inches of headroom, which is very good figures for this segment of vehicle. That's going to be more than the Toyota RAV4, a little bit less than that all-new Honda CR-V. The Hondas are very hard to beat space-wise, but certainly enough room for a 5'9" adult like myself, and my feet can even easily slide up underneath of the seat. Now let's talk about some of the features here in the middle. So here in the middle we have standard vents on every single model of the Rogue, which is a nice touch to see even on the base one. Then if we drop down here, you will notice a very unique feature for the Rogue. You'll notice that we do have our own temperature adjustment. That is a class exclusive feature, and it's going to be available as an option on this SL trim level or standard on the Platinum. Off to the side of that we have a USB Type-C, a USB Type-A, and then if we fold down the center armrest, we do have a nice center armrest with cup holders built inside. And then pulling back to our door trim, you're also going to find another feature that's pretty rare for this segment. That's going to be rear window sunshades. I really can't think of another rival in the segment that has this feature, maybe the Mitsubishi Outlander, and that's going to be included on the Platinum trim levels or SV and SL with premium package. Now, as far as the finishings, it's nicely leather wrapped on most of it, even the this area right here, as well as the armrest portion, and you can also get heated rear seats on the Platinum trim level of the Rogue. Now walking up to the tailgate of the Rogue, you're going to have a hands-free power one on SL trims and above, and you can also option that onto the SV trim level. So in order to open it, just kick your foot under the bumper. As you can see, it does work quite well. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the cargo area for this Rogue, because like I said in the second row area of this vehicle, it's a very spacious offering for the segment. That's actually going to continue in the cargo department as well. We're looking at 36.5 cubic feet of cargo capacity behind the second row seats. As a maximum, we're looking at 74.1 cubic feet. Those are very, very spacious figures for this segment of vehicle, guys. That's actually going to be better than most. It is a little bit less than the all-new Honda CR-V. Like I said, those Hondas are really difficult to beat on the space figure, but it's only about 2 cubic feet less than that Honda CR-V. Now, as far as how they finished it, they have finished it very nicely. So I want to point out that your seats do fold 60-40 split. You just lean up there and you can fold the seats down like that, and that does create a flat loading floor. And speaking of the loading floor, Nissan's done something pretty unique with this. So you can lift it up and there's a little bit of underfloor storage, but this also includes their divide and hide cargo system, so you can kind of arrange this rear area any way you want to maximize your cargo capacity. Now, as far as other features, it looks like we have a 12-volt power outlet here on the left side, and I do not see any lighting going on in the cargo department. Now, for your passenger seat, it is going to be power adjusting, since we do have a higher end version of the Rogue, which that is a nice feature to even have as an option, because some of the segment are going to be fully manual on every single trim level. Now, let's go ahead and check out our glove box. If we pop that baby open, you'll see inside of here we have a really good sized glove box. It's not felt lined, but that's not really expected for the segment. That said, as far as our coupons, it has to pass the coupon test, and indeed it does. Today we're going to be getting game day 20 wings for $20 at Wing Zone. And as you can see, it slides in there perfectly fine. It's the exact right width. So very happy Nissan had the coupon test in mind when designing that glove box. And then up top we have a sun visor. It's very large if you can't tell. We also have a nice light as well as a mirror integrated in, and we can also detach it and extend it out.
Alright, so there we are, accelerating up to 60 miles per hour in the 2023 Nissan Rogue. So, if you didn't tune in for our 2022 review, you might be surprised at what is underneath of the hood. We have a new engine versus when this Rogue first came out. It is a 1.5 liter variable compression turbocharged 3-cylinder. Power output is going to be 201 horsepower, 225 pound-feet of torque, which, if you have previously driven a Rogue with that naturally aspirated engine it had previously, substantial improvement in terms of power over top of that.
Yeah, you're looking at a 11 horsepower improvement and a 24% improvement in torque. So very substantial increases there, and we were very impressed when we sampled it out for the first time last year. I continue to be impressed. I think the figure that you noticed the most is the torque. This engine really has a lot of torque. It will push you back in your seat as you accelerate. Obviously, it's not going to be like earth-shattering power or anything, but I think this is definitely one of the most powerful standard motors in the class, that's for sure.
Yeah, like when the torque really hits in there, and it's, you know, low-end torque, of course, being a turbo, it really pushes you back in the seat. Like I said, it just has a different power characteristic than what's typical in the class, where you might have to, you know, really rev out the engine to get up to speed. This one has that low-end grunt that feels nice when you take off.
Now, it is worth noting, Nissan does not offer any other engine choices. This is going to be it for the Rogue. No hybrid offering. That's something that we would like to see added maybe in the future for the Rogue. Now, I do want to take a moment here to just talk about your overall ride quality. I don't want to leave you waiting too long. This is a family-oriented product, so of course that's going to be on the forefront of your mind. The Nissan Rogue does a really good job. Really, the top rivals in this segment just do such a good job of smoothing out your ride quality, making it nice and comfortable. I have to say, these Nissan Zero Gravity seats are also very impressively comfortable. So I think you're going to have zero issues when it comes to the Rogue's ride quality. And we even have the larger 19-inch wheels. So most of the models will actually have smaller wheels than this, and it still does a really good job, guys.
Alright, and let's go ahead and talk about the other aspect of the powertrain. So, when I took off there, it kind of highlights the continuously variable transmission. Of course, as you know, most Nissans have long come with a Xtronic CVT. However, when they updated the engine, they also updated the transmission as well. So it does have different programming that's really nicely matched with this new characteristic of the engine. When you put your foot down, really nice and responsive. They do a good job here. You don't have that weird rubber bandy feel that maybe you had in years past. Like I said, nice and responsive.
Yeah, and while we're going 55 miles an hour here, go ahead and get our sound level reading. Sitting at 57.7 decibels. Very solid reading for this segment of vehicle. It does seem very quiet just sitting inside of here.
Yeah, and the turbo engine as well is very quiet.
Yeah.
It has, I'm not sure if it's artificial or not, but it has an interesting sound to it when you put your foot down, kind of a deeper sound than I was expecting.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a lot more refined, too, than some of its competitors that can be a little gravelly and sound strained most of the time. Now, as far as other things I want to talk about, we do have standard front-wheel drive, optional all-wheel drive on every single trim level, which does mean that we only have two fuel economy figures. So we're looking at 30, 37, 33 miles per gallon for front-wheel drive rated models. If you go for all-wheel drive, it's going to be 28, 35, 31 mpg. Those are very good readings for this segment of vehicle. This is actually the best non-hybrid in the segment, standard. So if you're looking at like a base engine RAV4 or a base engine CRV, it's actually going to be better fuel economy than those. Now, of course, they do have hybrid offerings, but that is really impressively good fuel economy, guys. To be getting 33 mpg combined out of a non-hybrid model.
Exactly. And, you know, part of that is owed to the fact that this is a variable compression engine. So we didn't really take much time to discuss that yet. In case you're wondering what that is, basically it varies the compression ratio for maximum power or maximal efficiency as you drive along. And this is Nissan's, you know, second application of this technology that they previously were using in the Altima and Infiniti products.
All right, let's go ahead and head into our airball and slam dunk today. So for a slam dunk, I think it really just has to be some of the features that you get on this Rogue. There's a few class exclusive features as far as I know, like the climate controls in the back. That's very rare. I do think the Mitsubishi Outlander, of course, they're related to one another, does have that feature, but it's just very rare to see climate controls in the back, rear window sunshades. It's just a very family-oriented product, and you can tell Nissan spent a lot of time making it such.
Yeah, and then on the airball side of things, coming recently from a CR-V hybrid drive does just make me more and more aware that this doesn't have a hybrid offering, while most of the main competition does have hybrid offerings at this point.
And let's go ahead and talk about your prices for 2023. So the S model is going to start at $27,360, SV $29,050, SL $33,710, and Platinum is going to start at $37,140. All-wheel drive is going to be an additional $1,400 on all of those trim levels. And for 2023, prices are going to rise about $500. So not a huge increase this year. Now, this particular tester is a SL with the premium package, plus the $1,295 destination is going to ring in at $39,235 as tested.
But overall, the Rogue remains a really strong all-around vehicle. I think kind of that's what stands out to Mason and I, is just how well that Nissan baked in all of the family features and really made this kind of an all-encompassing vehicle that would blend into any family very well.
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us on this in-depth review of the 2023 Nissan Rogue SL. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would truly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It truly helps us out. Also, press the notification bell to get notified on our most recent content. We additionally have an Instagram and a TikTok that have shorter forms of content if you want to check those out. And we also have a merch store available if you want to support the channel that way. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.